Diss tracks hit YouTube with a boom in 2016. No other subcategory on the platform has taken hold of the site in the way diss tracks have. In such a short period of time, they gained more views and generated more money for creators than any other genre in the history of the site. So in this video, we're going to look at how Drake potentially inspired YouTube diss tracks and why so many creators took advantage of this phenomenon. This is the rise and fall of YouTube diss tracks. The definition of a diss track is to insult another person or group or to brag or boast. And while musical parodies and attacks have always existed, the earliest examples of a diss track dates back to the 1960s. Singer Joe Tex's song You Keep Her was a song written about his wife leaving him for soul singer James Brown. It was one of the first examples of a diss track, and while this was very early in the development of what we now consider to be a diss track, it wasn't until the 1980s and 90s that the trend became increasingly common, especially in the hip-hop genre. The most famous example of this is the rivalry between Tupac and the notorious B.I.G. But it wasn't until nearly 15 to 20 years later that the online revival of diss tracks would occur on YouTube. It's fairly common knowledge that RiceGum was the trendsetter who led the charge and popularised this genre on the platform in 2016. However, the proven formula for making these types of videos go viral was being defined many years before by another channel who had shaped its very own corner on the platform. That channel is Epic Rap Battles of History. While their content would be considered as the loosest form of a diss track, rap battles and diss tracks are very closely related and share a very similar definition. Epic Rap Battles, or ERB as they're now better known, is the brainchild of YouTube veterans Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd. The channel's videos are overhyped smackdowns in musical form, usually between historical icons and pop figures. The show started in 2010, and by 2011 they already had 200,000 subscribers. Soon after, Epic Rap Battles partnered with the multi-channel network Maker Studios and were largely funded by them. This meant the show's sets, costumes, makeup and special effects grew, allowing the videos to have a much higher production value which matched the upbeat performances. Over the next 2 years, Epic Rap Battles would see 5 of their videos surpass the 100 million views mark, and in July of 2013, the Obama vs Mitt Romney rap battle was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America. That made Epic Rap Battles the first YouTube channel to achieve this. It proved that this type of content had some serious viral power. So while Epic Rap Battles would never be cloned due to their distinct style, they absolutely helped lay the foundations of what would help this style of content go viral on YouTube. So skip forward to 2015 and RiceGum arrives on the scene. He started the year with less than 50,000 subscribers, and yet 1 year later, in 2016, he'd reached 5 million subscribers. The growth on his channel was exponential, and it was all down to his series, These Kids Must Be Stopped. Throughout the series, RiceGum rants, criticises and shares embarrassing clips of young kids who were aspiring web stars from the now defunct app Musical.ly. The kids he was reacting to would then hit back and roast him for criticising them and share their videos online. RiceGum would then respond back. However, it wasn't until March 6th of 2016, in a video titled Jacob Sartorius Roasted Me Again, that we saw the very first diss track. In the video, RiceGum shows that despite having put their differences aside, Jacob Sartorius continues to publicly roast him. So after a bit of digging in the hopes of embarrassing Jacob even more, RiceGum finds an old video of a music track that Jacob Sartorius made, and it was pretty bad. He jokes and says, if Jacob can make music, then so can I.
Psych, I'm just here to give you this L.
The video was a success, and from there, RiceGum continued to make diss tracks about all the main kids he'd featured in the series. The views on each video were in the millions, and diss tracks proved to be a winning tactic for RiceGum. He then continued with the newfound trend and went in on several other YouTubers with diss tracks, Gabby Hanna being one of the bigger YouTubers early on. So with a bit of research, a possible theory into where RiceGum got his inspiration from to make a diss track can potentially be traced back to Drake and Meek Mill's feud in 2015. RiceGum at the time was tweeting about this feud, and on the 30th of January 2016, the day Drake had released Summer 16, the diss track on Meek Mill, RiceGum tweeted this new Drake fire, I haven't heard it yet, just trying to fit it in. On the basis that RiceGum's first diss track was released just 5 weeks later, it's very possible possible that the inspiration came from the feud between Drake and Meek Mill, although this is just a theory. But the reality was that RiceGum had started a trend which would continue to grip YouTube for many years to come. All of a sudden, diss tracks had become the most popular craze on the site. Ryan Heger started the Roast Yourself challenge in 2016, which quickly turned into YouTubers making diss tracks on themselves in order to get in on the action. As 2017 hit, there was a vast increase in the amount of manufactured beef between YouTubers. Everyone involved in the chain of diss tracks saw a viewership boost on their channel, and they became the most talked about creators on YouTube at the time. It was a guaranteed winning formula. Everyone quickly learned that diss tracks were a shortcut to channel growth and a major payday. So despite most of the songs being pretty trash, for the audience it was more about being part of the drama surrounding the songs. The creators knew this, and it became a simple way to exploit fans to raise views and sell merchandise. A smart tactic by those who employed it. Within 2017, some of the biggest diss tracks on the platform to date were released. These mainly revolved around the Paul brothers, who took diss tracks to another level. Jake Paul's track, It's Everyday Bro, racked up over 200 million views, while RiceGum's response, Is Every Night Sis, gained over 150 million views and even debuted at number 80 on the US Billboard Hot 100. These creators were making millions, and RiceGum had become a platinum selling artist just over a year after he popularised the trend on YouTube. All of a sudden, every top creator had a feud with someone and would release a diss track, but as the songs matured, so did the meaning behind each line. In October of 2017, arguably the mother of all diss tracks was released. RiceGum had notably changed in the space of a year and a half due to the massive fame he'd effectively experienced overnight, and YouTube's very own sheriff, iDubbbz, had decided enough was enough and went in for the jugular. A content cop was released to huge viewing figures, and with it was the accompanying diss track, Asian Jake Paul. The lyrics were vicious, and every line demanded an understanding of references to YouTube drama and history. There were no holds barred in this diss track, unlike the many before it that was slightly more subdued. The backlash from the content cop and the diss track caused RiceGum to lose subscribers. Diss tracks had evolved quickly from joke-style roasts to serious swipes at a person's character that were now potentially career-threatening. From this moment on, they changed. There was a genuine hatred for one another behind them. 2018's diss tracks were far more venomous. Feuds between KSI and Logan Paul, Randolph and Deji, Jake Paul and Deji to name a few, with KSI taking the production value to a whole new level with his track On Point about Logan Paul. To finish 2018 and perhaps bringing the reign of diss tracks to an end, PewDiePie released Bitch Lasagna. The song pokes fun of T-Series and was one of the first major events in the PewDiePie vs T-Series battle for 100 million subscribers. The song effectively brought back the character and tone of what diss tracks on YouTube originally started out at, and it's arguably the catchiest and most recognisable diss track on the whole internet. Since then, while diss tracks continue to be uploaded on an hourly basis to the platform, none have quite gained the same hype, views or attention that any of its predecessors managed. The majority of the biggest creators have squeezed diss tracks for all they're worth. So to conclude, diss tracks are a huge part of the history of YouTube. The evolution of how they transformed in such a short period of time is absolutely phenomenal, and RiceGum can safely say that he had an enormous part in setting that trend. He managed to gain close to 500 million views on his channel simply from diss tracks alone, earning millions in the process. So as the novelty of diss tracks wears off, as long as creators can still make thousands of dollars through this type of content, the chances are it will still continue to stick around to some extent. And while the occasional track from a top creator is always fun, it's probably safe to say that the days of diss tracks dominating are likely behind us. Thanks very much for watching, and please don't subscribe because I probably won't make one of these videos again.